Many say para-unity is a myth. Many believe that the paranormal community is toxic, filled with egos, know-it-alls, and wannabe celebrities. Let's clear the air here and now. This thing we call para-unity is what we make it. Tonight, let's do something different. Welcome to Necromancer Live. Hello and welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. I'm your host, Justin Brown, and we are presenting episode 75, I believe. And I apologize for the long hiatus between the last show and this show. My daughter had softball, and she comes first, so all I could do was the blog show. But here we are back with Necromancer with a lineup of some awesome guests. I've already started booking a lot of guests through Rich Valdez, which I'm very happy for, and a few others that I won't spoil. But before we get to our guests, we'll just say hi to Jessica real quick. Hey, Jess, how are you doing? Are you ready for tonight's guest?
Absolutely.
All right. Missy, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Without further adu, we're going to talk to Lorie Johnson tonight. Do you need an introduction, Lorie? Do you want me to introduce you? Do you want to introduce yourself, or should people know who you are?
Really? Damn, she got some special treatment there.
He's getting ready to put me on a spot. You can introduce that deep voice, so it'll be good.
All right, in the most manly voice possible. Lorie Johnson is probably the most known for being on the cable TV show Ghosts of Shepperdstown on, I believe, is that Destination America, I believe, right?
It was Destination America, TLC, and the Travel Channel.
But she is definitely not new to the realms of metaphysics. From the age of 2, based on her bio, she's been doing things that people would call psychic, empathic, remote viewer. There's a whole list of abilities that we're going to get into. And she has a website that she works with for it to help people, with readings and God knows what else. We'll probably get into that too. And she's very active on social media. She is very giving with her energy as far as the readings and the help she's able to give people. Probably hundreds, if not thousands of people as you've probably touched. Would that be a fair assessment, Lorie?
I'm actually, I would say a lot more. But the thing is when I do the things that I do it because I love it. I like paying it forward. It's, a lot of people think that, oh, you're gifted. You owe me. You should do it. Well, the thing is, I have a website. I do charge. But the thing is, I also like paying it forward. Paying it forward means sharing with people that can't afford it or have no way of connecting to my website. So I do it because I'm kind, I'm very loving, and I love to share. I do a lot of mentoring. I've mentored for many years. I have a lot of students around the world that I mentor on the phone, Skype, on Facebook in a class. And, I do it because I grew up, my mother is gifted. She's seen spirits all her entire life, and she refused it. I never knew that until a year after my dad passed, and that was in 2007. And then my father, I've seen my father do his shamanism work, taking literally a demon out of a very Christian man that had a family of 5 in Texas. But I remember the first time that it was basically every time I talk about it, it's like I'm living it again because I can remote review. I do the past regression. I can do your past lives. I can do your past. I can do the time you were born, whatever I have to because of the shamanism that that I am. I mean, I have the ability to whatever gift needs to be done, I do it. Right. Since I was 2, I remember I was still in a cloth diaper, and yes, I'm old, and I'm getting ready to climb over, because wherever my father was, I had to be. So I was getting ready to climb over some really big rocks for the road, and this old man came out behind a bush, and he never spoke here. He spoke here telepathically, and he goes, mm-mm. Well, it took 30 years for my father to finally show me a picture of his dad, and it was him.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, because my grandfather died when I was a year old.
So, there's a ton of questions I have for you, Lorie. I never plan these questions out. I just pretty much organically come up with them through the show, through the course of just regular conversation. But real quick, before we get into the meat and potatoes here of this show, if you guys are first time watchers of Necromancer and want to know how my shows work, we are going to monitor the comments. That's why Missy and Jess are here. Jess is doing YouTube, Missy's doing Facebook, as always. If you have a question for Lorie, go ahead and ask it, but we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of an introductory conversation with Lorie. Please don't spam her asking for readings, but if we bring her up or if she glances at the chat, she may pick something up and she may just give you what she picks up as we go. But
I'm just letting you know I'm on my phone, so I don't have the chat in my face, but I can still pick up energy.
Right.
Everybody and everything is an energy. Mm-hmm. You have a female in there with some light brown hair. She's got a long, narrow face. I already see that she has a concern and she has a lot of sorrow. So I don't need names. I don't go by names because then I start living their life. But there is a few people that have concerns. But the thing is when you're going to a psychic, a medium, whomever, whatever they claim they are, never say, is my mom around me? Because you've just given, street readers know how to play the fiddle with you. Mm-hmm. Trust me on that.
Yeah, so if you do want to ask a question for Lorie and you want like a reading, don't give her anything. Say, hey, Lorie, what's up? And that's all she needs.
Absolutely. Or can you tell me anything? I mean, right. A lot of people are, I go up. I'm still waiting for someone to read me. They cannot. I can tell if you go onto my timeline mm-hmm. and read something about me. You think you mm-hmm. know me. That's when I come to a psychic or a medium, I'll say, can you tell me anything about me? And they're like, what? What is that? Really? Okay. Well, you have a nice day. So,
well, hopefully that doesn't. It's not. I'm not going to do that, and hopefully,
well,
I don't.
I was definitely gifted too, so I already know that.
I always tell people that everyone is to. There's a spectrum.
We are. That's right.
But we're definitely going to talk about that in depth because I definitely want to get your take on that specifically. But as I was saying, we'll get your comments about 15-20 minutes. If you want to be shouted out, at least comment hi so we can see your name in the chat. We'll shout you all out, all you wonderful people. There's over 30 people watching right now. I expect more to come. So stick around, share the stream. Lorie's a great gal. She's a great conversation, so just stick around. So Lorie, the first thing I want to talk about, and it's probably going to be a little cliche, but we got to start from the beginning.
I already been there. Go ahead.
I know, but it's interesting how people who are naturally gifted, like right out of the gate gifted, they feel they don't know any better. They feel like you're normal. In your bio, from the age of 2, probably when you started remembering things. You have memory of when you were 2, maybe a little bit before, but psychics, mediums, gifted metaphysicists, they'll start, talking to people. They think they're there, but others don't see them. Let's talk about that. How did you realize at the very earliest stage that you weren't normal, as they say?
Well, I was never normal because I'm the only redhead out of 10 kids and both parents. So I already felt out of place. Mm-hmm. And I was also abused by my mother. And, I always felt out of place. So if you're wanting to talk about what made me realize that what I was going through made me special, then we can do that. It took me a long while to realize that what was happening to me wasn't about me. It was about the spirituality that my mother was never taught herself. Her mom is cousin to Queen Elizabeth. And, we already know that, the English and they are gifted. And I mean, we're all gifted. All of us are gifted in one way or another. We all have a different job to do. But with me understanding that I was in the human world gifted, or it's not even really different because we're all the same. We just have different jobs. I I was very young. I mean, I don't remember being in the crib and talking to somebody. I do remember seeing the angels. But the first thing the spirit did to me was they brought my stuffed animals alive, and they would walk around in my room.
Haven't heard that one before.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the first time that I realized that, you know, I could do what I do today, my father passed in 2006, and my mom was 450 something pounds. She stopped eating. She went into a depression, and she went from I think it was like a 27 to all the way to a size 6 in a year. And I believe that's, to me, is like a soul connection. You know, when you lose a part of your, you know, your soul, your mate. Even though her verbal words were very harsh at times about my father, her action is what told me the story. So anyway, she had gone into a depression, and I was mentoring a young girl that was in Virginia when I was living there. And I said, Mom, I said, let's see if Pop can come through and let's talk to a psychic medium. So I had gone on the internet and I found a Kevin DeMaria. A lot of people have heard of him. And I found him. He was going live. He was doing his shows. He was doing shout outs. And I said, I'm calling, and you know, for my mom. And I would like to see if, you know, anybody would come through. And my mom sat down, put the headphones on, and of course I heard everything. And it was pretty good reading. My father didn't come through right away. It was her aunt that my mother very much loved. So sometimes spirit, the person that you really want to talk to, might not come through for letting somebody else that you remember that you've lost so many times, so many years, to calm you down, to let you know that not just one person's around you, but the people that love you is around you. Mm-hmm. And then my father came through, and he said, well, you know, I have a man here. And anybody that knows me and follows me on my timeline, if you smell chicken around and there's nobody and no chicken frying, that's my dad. My father, when he died, looked like KFC. Exactly like KFC. When he was younger, he sang like Elvis and looked exactly like Elvis.
Yeah, as soon as I saw you, I knew that you were a lover of chicken yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm a cook. I'm a chef, so. So anyways, he gave my mom, and then my dad had came through, and he told my mother that my father told her she needs to slow down and eat better, take care of herself. And it kind of like gave her, you know, I mean, my mom sees my dad, but we're in denial of ourselves. I don't care who you are in your spiritual. We don't do self-gain, and we're in denial. Oh, I seen your father, but you know what? I might not have. I might be just in depression. We talk ourselves out of it. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens, especially those that see shadows coming through on the side of their peripherals, you know, and then they see it, but they're like, oh, you know, it could have been the cat, or it could have been a dog, or it could have been a car driving by, you know, and it's dark time. Shadows don't come through.
Right. Well, I guess, you know, the human brain tries to rationalize, you know, stuff. And, you know, the first thing people that, you know, might be afraid of, you know, that subject matter might want to explain it away so they can sleep a little bit easier that night.
Absolutely.
Right? Before we get too in deep, I want to go ahead and do some shout outs now. There's a lot of people giving you love, and we want to recognize a few of these people early on. So, Missy, go ahead and start the shout outs on Facebook.
Okay. I have Derek Schreiner. I have Becky Compton. I have Bill Davis. I have Amanda, Samantha, Valerie, Josh, Marlene, Nelson, Karen, Melissa, Cheryl, Melissa Johns, Susan, Sandy, Joanna, Jim, Mary, and Debbie.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, that's all the people that's commented. I did see some people saying hi to her.
Yeah, they've all said hi, Lorie, and hi, Justin, and
hello, thank you. Love you too.
No questions yet, right?
Nope.
Okay. So if you guys do have questions, write them down or put them in the chat right now. Hopefully girls have pen and paper ready for tonight so they can write them down. But we'll get to them definitely periodically through the show. So go ahead and shout out YouTube.
Sure. Betty, my mom, Scotty Fox, and today is Scotty's birthday. So happy birthday, Scotty.
Oh, Scotty, happy birthday, man. I wish I knew that in advance.
Melissa Grubbs, Limelight Girl, Heath Edwards, John Cool, Marilyn Price, Twitchy Witchy, Haunted by Haunted, and Philip Little. And Marilyn, if I didn't say Marilyn, I don't know if I did it or not.
Yeah, we got
But
Marilyn.
There's no questions just yet.
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. If you have not been by our YouTube channel before, please hit the subscribe button. I promise that you won't regret it. There's a bunch of cool stuff on here. It's completely free. And if you don't like it later on, you can unsubscribe. So, if you
subscribe, I will haunt you. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God, she's already giving me shit. Okay.
Anybody that unsubscribes your YouTube, then I'll haunt them.
Okay. Yeah, you heard it. You heard it. She'll come to get you. She's a remote viewer. She'll find you.
And I'm an astral projector.
Let's get into the individual abilities here a little bit. What was the first thing outside of seeing entities, spirits, like remote viewing, or what was some of the other stuff? Being an empath. What was the first thing you remember that kind of set you even more aside from the norm psychic?
That's pinpointing and being conceited. I'm not conceited, but the first thing that came forward and freaked me out was aliens, seeing in the blue coats and the gray coats.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about that. That should be a little interesting. If that's
I still
cool.
see them. It's very weird because I can actually sit in a crowd of people and see their true selves. Like I tell everybody else, I'm a freak of nature. There's nothing I cannot do or see. Do I care? Not being rude. No, it's not my business. I have a life to live of my own. But if you come to me, there's a reason. There's a purpose. Most definitely my favorite is the shamanism that I do, medical intuitive. I actually did a case of a little boy that the mother killed him. And they couldn't find him. She said he disappeared at 2:00 or 11:00 in the morning at night. And I'm like, no, this child's dead, and he's in a bag, and he's in a dump and a place of recycle. It's a recycle place. It's not even a dump place. And they actually just found him in Virginia, Chesapeake. Yep. So, I mean, there are a lot of gifts that I do have that I really, really love. I love it. I mean, it's not that I don't love my gifts or who I am, but there are things that I know that is saving your life. If I'm not a god, I don't like using the word powerful, that we're not powerful. We're just human beings and spirit, souls having a human moment. The body dies, but the soul never does. So I can tell you that my soul is very old. She's very, very old. I wasn't a woman all the time. That's probably where I'm getting this redheaded attitude from. No, I'm kidding. When I was growing up, I was very abused. I was very neglected. My dad was a truck driver, boxer. He was actually a jack of all trades. I'm a daddy's girl, but I got to see my dad maybe 3 or 4 times a year. So, I always felt out of place. I was always out of place or not loved, and I would always make songs and I would sing to the heaven and I would see the angels all my life. But when they started showing me they're around, is by moving my little stuffed animals. And I was scared to death.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if that didn't freak you out, I don't know what else would. That's like some Chucky stuff or something.
Well, they never attacked me, but it was to the purpose. They knew they were trying to cheer me up. But me being, I dissect everything. Everything's got to be a reason with me, or everything has got to be a purpose to it, and me, I see in these, I said, look, you stay on your side, I stay on my side. You can do whatever you want. Just don't mess my room up because I'll have to clean it.
Right. So let's okay, we're going to hit on some of those things you mentioned. The aliens. You mentioned that
Yeah.
You see aliens, but they take on different forms while they're here. Is that what you mentioned?
Actually, okay, so you've got the blue coats. It's like a really ashy looking blue, and their torso is very long. They have no hips. They have very long stick arms and legs. Their head is totally shaped in the back part of them. And then of course they have the sunk in, the jaw area and the cheeks. They're more aggressive, but they lead with their heart. The gray coats are aggressive because they're bossy. They're very, it's got to be their way, or it's got to be, how would you say it in a human way for someone to understand? You have OCD and something's got to be in one place.
Like the epitome of a personality.
Absolutely. They're most definitely aggressive. The gray coats are very aggressive. I have seen humans that were really human. They're aliens. I've seen them. It's just like when I started helping a few friends. Sorry about that, guys. I started helping a few friends with Sasquatch or Bigfoot or whatever you want to call them. And they're like, well, what do you think, Lorie? And I said, well, one, it's hilarious because I don't believe that it is. It's more. It's like they have the ability to fade into rock. They love rock. They love water. It almost reminds me of the lizard that can change the color where you can't see them.
So when you see them, are they cloaked to people?
Most definitely. But I can see them. I can see their true self.
So are they cloaked because they're extra dimensional or interdimensional, or are they using some technology to do that?
That's because, let me see. Every time we talk, I'm pinging into them all to find out why they do that. They have the capability because, to me, I believe that, we do have a God, we do have Christ, but we also have, I believe that they have some way, shape, or form helped create what's on this earth. I believe.
Yeah. You mentioned that to me at Mid-South Paracon.
I believe that the pyramids.
So the ancient astronaut theory you subscribe to is what you're saying.
Say it again.
The ancient astronaut, ancient alien. Have you ever watched that show, Ancient Aliens, where aliens came to the Earth and helped seed our civilization? They messed with our genetics and all that. They help form our culture and society.
I don't think they messed with our genetics. I believe that they created some form to where it actually formed a human, like do I believe in the caveman time? No, I believe that our hair was more thicker and more because the inner, the atmosphere, our air was totally different. Of course, we were more hairier, but now that our water is different, our air is different. There's more chemicals in the world. Things are changing. I mean, look at today's society. Young people are dying left and right of heart issues. I mean, we're human. The scientific parts. They're killing off people. They're poisoning the water. I mean, It's crazy. But do I believe that the aliens would do something like that? Absolutely not. No, I don't. I don't believe either blue or the gray. I don't believe that.
All right. Well, there's a few questions in there that they were asking. What was it, Missy? About the aliens, I was going to address. Do they know they're aliens? Cheryl Roy asked, do they know they're aliens?
I just got the qualms. I don't know what a qualm is. It's a QUAMZ sounding to me. They're calling them the queens, the kings. Do they know that they're aliens? Is that the question?
Yeah.
They know they're a different species. Absolutely.
All right.
Out
I
of
have one
humans,
more question about aliens.
Okay, go ahead.
I do believe that a lot of humans were abducted, and they still are out there.
Val wants to know, what does it mean when you have a vision or a dream of an alien?
Okay, so she has to tell me a little bit more about that dream, because to me, the alien would be her feeling. I'm a dream interpreter too. That would tell me it depends on how her dream was, what she remembers that stands out in her dream. That would tell me that she's feeling alienated from people that she helped, that she loves. You know what I mean? So your dreams are not what you dream. It's a form of something telling you. It could be your soul telling you something that needs to be changed.
Symbolism is what you're saying.
Most definitely. I mean, our fears, we can manifest it. We can most definitely manifest it. When you go in a haunted penitentiary or a haunted house, and everybody says, "Oh, my chairs moved. They pile up on each other," and there was a lot of fighting. There was drinkers in the house. Our thought is energy. We're creating something that's not there, and we can create it worse, good, or bad.
Yeah, that part you're talking about is always fascinating. How we can craft our reality, how we can manifest things, because the skeptical view of that is like, okay, if I think of a bottle of water and it doesn't appear in my hand, it must not be true. It's not exactly how it works.
That's hocus pocus, no.
Right. Yeah, and that's always been fascinating. Do you girls have any questions you want to go ahead and address?
I have 2 questions off of YouTube about aliens.
Okay.
Scotty said, aliens like from space or interdimensions type entities?
Okay, so in the ones that are in the dimensions, I don't believe they're aliens, honey. I believe it's another time warp of, and this is my only insight. I nobody has to believe in it, but I do see different dimensions. I see, how sometimes it's raining on one side of the world or across the street, and it's not raining on your side. Okay, it's basically the same thing when you're seeing dimensions. What makes that happen? Why would that happen? You get it?
Mm-hmm.
The conditions are different on that side of the street.
I don't believe aliens are coming from dimensions. I believe there are a lot here lately. I want to say within the 4 years, we've had a shift, or I would say 2016. We had a shift. A huge shift. That's when our earthquakes and tsunamis started happening. It could have been 15. But it's because there's a shift in our world. Now, 2012, how many people have woke up and realized there's something special about it? 2012, because there was a shift. It was the equator that kind of like, we're supposed to be evened up with the world. It shifted down on the left side. So what's happening? It's opening more energy fields. And 2015, 16, I want to say almost the end of 15, something happened.
Interesting.
You've had the hurricanes, you've had tsunamis, you've had devastations on all 4 sides of the earth.
I know the weather is definitely changing for sure.
Yeah, but I believe that weather, most of it, truthfully, I believe it is our government that's messing with us.
I agree with you.
It's the government. It's not, our world is not going to end. It is not going to end. It's actually healing itself. So, have you looked at the YouTubes where all these phenomenons are coming out to where there's water going in a hole and nobody knows where it's going? But yet,
I haven't personally.
But yet the lake never dries out. Where is it going? It's a phenomena. If they're talking about dimensions, to the point of see that is a very scientific question on aliens coming through dimensions. I believe that the aliens have control of everything.
Yeah, the next question, I think it ties into that. Haunted by Haunted said, most people I know think that aliens are actually demons. I'm still open-minded on this subject myself.
So basically, if an alien is a demon, what would make a demon? Are they talking about the devil, or are they talking about something
To
that
kind
comes
of
on?
put a premise on this, Lorie, I've had other guests and that've written books about this. They believe that fallen angels are aliens. Okay.
Yeah, they're not. No, they're not. I've seen fallen angels. And everybody has been brainwashed with a lot of crap that has been man-made, written in a Bible. I can look at the scriptures of a Bible. I don't care how old it is, and it'll glow gold if it's in really written biblical words. Okay, and a lot of it is just normal, as if you just written it down. So a lot of this biblical Bibles that are out there are man-made. It's like you opening your journal and writing a story that you did this and you did that, and you become the millionaire that you always wanted, but it was only a story. Do you get that? I think there's a lot of scriptures out there that have not even been recognized because they hid them.
Mm-hmm.
They hid them. I don't believe that there are angels on this earth. Have you ever heard the saying, heaven on earth? That's exactly what he wants. He wants heaven on earth.
Right. Yeah, there are sections in the Bible that I've read that, Lucifer and his followers were banished to the earth, and that's what gave rise to Nephilims.
Oh, let me tell you, there's some negatives on this earth. I'm not going to give them the kudos of calling them demons, because demons give a life to something. It gives a life. So I'll call them negatives. I have seen the devil. The devil has tested me all my entire tiny life and all my adulthood. And I was always told I'm being tested of my faith. It's not a church that's going to save you. I was a Sunday school teacher almost all my life. I loved it. I'm not putting no church down, but religion, it separates you from me. It's not going to save you. Your faith and your love is. That's what's going to, when I deal with spirits coming in and out of my home, I ask them, why do you come to my home? And they said, it's because I know we're safe. And you love. You're not judgmental. And I'm not. Why would I judge you if I don't judge myself? I'm not going to get judged. I don't want to be judged. I'm not perfect either. There's no such thing as perfect. That's why we're human. We make our mistakes to become better people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely causes a lot of issues with people.
And I have seen the devil. He's a nasty little you-know-who, what. He's nasty.
Here, I want to write that down so I can quote you. He's a little nasty, what is what you said, right?
No, he's a little nasty, what.
Okay.
I was 6 years old.
1 minute. He's...
Rewind in the archive.
I don't want to forget to look. Nasty.
And her note is saying Justin Brown is an ass.
No. I want to remember this shit. That was... I got it.
I'm not giving him life because, like I said, your fears manifest what is not there.
So to troll Satanists, I'm going to be like, I know what you are. You're one of those, he's a little nasty, what worshippers.
I'm Southern. Don't go there.
All right. Did we want to address any questions or comments on Facebook? You don't have to. I've seen a lot. Just pick and choose what you do there, Missy.
Okay. The first question was, can spirits control events or actions here?
You have to go in a little bit more detail with that, because to me, how can anything control anything unless you have allowed it to give you control? All right, I'm gonna give you an example. And whomever had asked that, and I can see her, she's got like dark roots and highlights, and she has a bad knee, and it would be her left. Okay, so I did a case. This woman come to me, and she said, "There's a dark shadow in my hallway. He's wearing a hat and he's wearing a long cloak. They think it's a reaper." She started getting fear. She was scared. Her home started turning into turmoil. Well, I said, okay, well, number one, I have to ask permission to come into your home, no matter if it's physical or remotely. Okay, that's what I was doing. I was remoting. And she said, yeah, sure. And I had to make sure her nightmare is in the house she's talking about, or did her nightmare start somewhere else? So I'm starting to walk through. And I said, do you have green carpet? And there's a little red dot, like a Kool-Aid spilt on the carpet. And she goes, oh my God, I just did that last night. I said, is your bed on the floor? She goes, yes, it is. I said, are you sitting from that bed? Are you sitting on the left side by a window? And she goes, Lorie, you're scaring me. I said, well, you know what? I'm not here to scare, but you asked for help. I want to find out who this Reaper guy is supposed to be. I remoted around and there was a dark spot. You know how if you're looking at a window, there's a closet, but in that middle, there's a wall and it's dark. There's no light going in there. Well, he was hiding and I asked him to come forward. And he was hiding. The darker the entity is, it's somebody that's in shame. And the less they can get forgiveness for their shame, the darker they're going to become. Darker means, let's see. You see how black that is? That's how black they can get. I mean, they can become really, really not aggravating, but the energy would become dark. Putting forward, I asked him to show me who he truly was. I saw a little light where the heart would have been. So that told me right there that he was alive before. So, and I told him, I recognize you as a soul that was alive. He shedded all the stuff off, and it was her. I told her what he looked like, and she goes, oh my God, that's my dad. And I said, honey, he's not haunting you, but he's haunting you because he needs forgiveness. And she got so belligerently mad. She goes, no, I'm not. I'm not ready to forgive him. Come to find out, he was an alcoholic. He molested her and her sisters, and he died. And she could never have gotten to the point where she could ask him why he did that. How do you harm a child? And I said, well, he's looking for forgiveness. He's gone. There's nothing you could do, but now he needs to go in his transitions and go where he needs to go to heal and realize what he had put upon other people is bad. And she said, no, I'm not doing that.
That's interesting because a lot of people, when they think of someone who had passed as haunting a location, the first thing a lot of people think is, well, they had unfinished business or they chose not to go on. There's a lot of times where the living is a component or a catalyst of them not crossing, like in this
absolutely
certain situation. They're asking for forgiveness or afraid of, if they leave, what they will cause. There's so many different things.
Yeah, but people don't realize something. If you can't learn to forgive and cut that cord, and not for them, just them, it's for you. Because where you're sitting, you're stuck, you're depressed, you become angry. You're mad. You're feeling like, well, you know what? My dad never did nothing for me. Why should I care? What happens? Well, when you die, you have unfinished business with this person. This is what makes souls linger and become aggressive. Right. You're not going to see nobody until you're able to understand it's not forgiving just for them. It's for you. You didn't ask for it. You just because it happened to you doesn't mean that it's what you deserved. It's because there's something within your light, your soul, in that body that could help heal a person. So what do? Do you go and tell someone to ask for help? Or do you say, you know what? You hurt me. You need to be reprimanded for this. There's a lot of people that are molesting children or killing children and don't even realize what they really literally have done. I just said this again the other day. They need to open these penitentiaries and get these people mental help to find out what became. That's the monster to me. That's a demon to me. It's somebody that has become harmful to someone that was an innocent.
Yeah, it's a sociopathic quality, and it seems like, experts have looked into it and said, oh, there must be something in the brain that triggered this, and there's never just always one answer.
It's a bunch of crap, because if they stop thinking scientifically and get someone that is spiritually in tuned and not take anything in at heart, they'll find out that something happened to them.
That makes sense. I mean, that's common sense would tell you
I
that.
have also seen walk-ins. There's tag-alongs and there's walk-ins. I've seen walk-ins. Walk-in is someone that is sick and they want to give up and they're ready to die. and they're tired of fighting. And then all of a sudden, this soul, the spirit, walked into them to keep them going. I've seen that too.
All right. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, I get asked this one a lot, and I don't know the answer to it, so I'm just going to ask Lorie. It says, I wonder how did Lorie distinguish hearing spirits and knowing that's what they were?
Well, with me in the beginning, it really wasn't hearing them. It was feeling them. Because me being sensitive and having the empathy, because I was in empathy overdrive, I'm always in empathy because I have a heart. I understand what pain is. I started sensing the pain in them. And then I started saying, you know what? I know there's somebody here. And when my cousin was killed in Shepperdstown a year before Ghosts of Shepperdstown started, her and I didn't see each other for 30 some years. She finally come back. And the angels kept saying, it's her last chance. It's her last chance. It's her last chance. And I said, I don't know what that last chance is, but why on my watch? I was very angry. I did not like, I took it personal that she died in my hands, but then they had showed me it's because she trusted me and she knew I loved her and I never judged her. So that question can go a lot of places as far as hearing them, because actually we can actually hear someone even through pain of sensing them, if that makes sense. So I've heard them all my life. But when I was young, I was more attacked. I was more being attacked by negatives and demons and goblins and all kinds of crap. They were literally trying to drive me insane. And I just kept going.
That reminds me of a question. Sorry to interrupt, but that reminds me of a question that Jessica asked me a lot. Is there ever a point in time where you feel like you just need to take a step back from, having these abilities? Do you ever have hiatuses or, breaks from it at all? Or is it just on all the time?
It's always on, but the thing is, you've got to remember you're the boss applesauce and they need you. So you have to start making rules. You need to say, my bedroom, I always say, my bathroom, my bedroom is my sanctuary. It's my privacy. And I cannot help you unless you give me enough time to rest. I mean, I was sitting on my couch one day and I don't watch TV. I cannot stand TV unless it's at nighttime and it's got to be a building thing or, the what do you call that? The Brothers, the cooking show, something that is not in trauma to me because I feel everything. I don't care if it's fake or not. I feel it. And I'm sitting on my couch and I have Lucille Ball walking in my house. She's got long legs and long torso and long arms. And she comes in, she goes, hello, honey. And she sits down on my love seat and she, draped her arms, stretched them on either side. And she crossed her legs and she looked at me. She looked at the TV. She looked at me. She goes, you watch this shit? I said, no, not really. I don't. But I was bored and I needed to shut it out.
If Lucille Ball's judging what you watch on TV, you might want to reconsider.
Telling you, it was the news, and they were talking about accidents and hurricanes all over. It was just sad stuff coming out of there. It was just totally. And she was like, "You watch this shit?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but actually, I don't. I said, but I was concerned because I fear weather. I lived in Texas, and we had tornadoes, and I see brother wrap it around his hand and he's twirling in this tornado. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Texas has some really severe weather for sure.
Melissa wanted to know, how do you close out spirits speaking to you while you sleep?
Okay, so the number one thing is I learned this when I was younger. I use a fan and it becomes my white noise. It drowns them out. And I always tell them, you have to give me enough time to rest. I cannot help you. And I tell them, you have to step and go see your family. Like you're basically helping them see their family and tell them, go visit your family. And when it's time, because I never go searching nobody. I will not search anybody. They have to send them to me. And spirit, their loved one comes to me 3 to 7 days before they come to me. for a reading or insight or anything. So she needs to mentally say, this is my home, this is my space, and I need enough time to rest. You got to remember, there's no such thing as time and days on that side. So whenever she says, okay, you know what, I'm ready, I can help you, then she can do that. But she mentally has to, because your mental thought is an energy. It's the barrier what they draw on. And if you let them bother you, they're going to keep bothering you. But if you say, you know what, I'm drained, I'm tired, and I need a break. I don't understand my gifts. Please give me enough time. And they will.
Just so you guys know, this is not going to be Lori's going to read everybody in chat show. I am sorry that can't happen. She does do live readings, and she does probably the couple that I've watched. She probably reads at least a couple hundred during this time, maybe. She can't get to everybody, but you go follow her on Facebook, okay? If you show up in her feed long enough and nag her long enough, she might get to you. But we can't get to you in this show, unfortunately. But just try to sit back, listen to what she has to say, and ask questions about things that she may be able to answer. I mean, that would be your best takeaway from this show. But
that or just go visit my website. I've got a special going on right now.
Yeah, the best thing to do is just to go to her website, talk to her personally, and she'll set you up and let you know what you need to do to get a reading. And the link her website is in the video description, just so you guys know. Do we have any other good questions or anything that we need to? I know there's a crap ton of comments, a crap ton.
Yeah. Derek asked the question, have you ever read anybody wrong?
That's going to make me sound like I'm conceited. Sorry, guys, my battery's dying, so I'm going to have to plug you up.
Plug us in.
You really want the truth on that? That's kind of...
I mean, I didn't bring you on here to bullshit us, so tell how it is.
All right, keep talking so I can hear you.
Test. Hello.
I lost voice.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
I lost voice.
That's not good.
Can you call me right back? My battery was dying, so I plugged it up.
Okay.
And just to answer him, no, I have not.
Okay.
I've actually given more than what they expected, so have I shocked them? Yeah. But no, I haven't.
All right, Lorie, I'm going to go ahead and try to remove you and then put you back on, okay? Let me see if I can do that. Okay. We took Lorie off. We're going to add her back. See if this works. Okay.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
You are kidding.
Are we good now?
We're good. I was kidding with you.
Good. All right. Now you're attached to your wall receptacle, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to have to give Lorie an external battery at Gettysburg so she don't have this problem.
Yeah. I have one more good question. Robert Veach asked, hello, Lorie. Have you ever worked with a paranormal engineer using equipment to validate any of what you're experiencing?
Absolutely. I worked with a lot of, I had a team in Shepperdstown, and they did one thing on one side, and then I worked with them. But Elizabeth Saint, she created all those, the equipment that we used, and yeah, we actually did. But I'd do it again if they were asking. It's fun. I like confirmation. Not being rude or anything. Just because I'm not wrong in a reading doesn't mean that I wouldn't like to have confirmation, because I don't get confirmation ever, and that would be awesome to work with someone like that.
I have a question on YouTube. The question was asked, I died in 2014, but I don't feel like my old self. You have any insight about that?
Hold on, because it's a female.
I believe so, yes.
I'm with her. She's got like a really light eyes to me. So light eyes are green, hazel, or light blue.
I don't personally know. I don't see a photo of her.
Okay. The number one thing with her that asked the question, I believe she is going through. It's not that when she had the NDE, near death experience, that changed her. I believe she was going through a change. You know, I think she had it almost as if it was more of an epiphany, an awakening type of thing, more than you know, when I had woke more and more with the gifts that I had, I felt like I was hit in my forehead, and then I seen a huge vertical purple eye with eyes. I mean, it was like eyes didn't never even stop. And when I even looked through my eyes, I seen the purple eyes in front of my eyes. I didn't even see my eyes. I saw theirs through them.
Yeah, that was the reason why I asked that question, because I was wanting to your intake of near-death experiences. Yeah. If that, you know, sometimes revolve around you getting your abilities, you know, and stuff like that. That's the reason why I asked that.
Well, a near-death experience can be a part of an epiphany of the awakening. It's like shedding, like a snake that sheds. You know, people don't realize, even though you don't stop breathing, but when the head has trauma, severe trauma, even when the baby, that's still an epiphany. That's a near-death experience to me, because you've got to remember the brain is our motor, and that's what drives the entire body. But the soul is what directs. So, you know, even why babies and animals can see spirit even before a lot of us is because they're the innocent. It you know, it's trauma. You know, it's still an epiphany of an awakening.
Okay.
Can I add something to that? For what it's worth, I'll add something to that. It is known when you do have a near-death experience or a traumatic episode in your life that takes you to that point, your brain chemistry will actually change quite a bit in most cases. There's a study in rats about DMT being released, which gives rise to a lot of the spiritual type experiences for NDEs. So the brain chemistry does physically change in most of those cases.
Ultra Universe is joined. Alice and Hamilton had a question. Have you ever talked to someone that died tragically?
Yeah.
And they told you who killed them?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah.
But don't elaborate at all.
Yeah.
Just joking. Go ahead.
Oh, you and I are going to fight later.
Oh, keep it recording.
I want to hear about it for sure. This is why you're on the show. I want to hear about this one.
When the baby that I was telling you in Chesapeake, Virginia, told me that his mommy had killed him and where he was, he showed me exactly how it happened. So, yeah.
That's got to be pretty hard, right?
It is, but the thing is, we have to understand. I do have the sympathy for that baby, because the baby is so innocent. But you have to take that personal side off, because that baby has a right to have his last word to tell who did this, and that's my number one thing. I've helped many. I've helped the FBI. I've helped the police. I've helped many people find runaways. I just found a runaway, and I told her, she actually is on my timeline. She goes, Lorie, my daughter-in-law's daughter had ran away. Do you know where she's at? And believe it or not, on my way here to Chesapeake, Virginia, I saw that girl. She ran right in my hands. So yeah, I see all of it.
Now, do you get nervous, like when you are helping like cases or anything like that they will not necessarily doubt you, but kind of like question you why you know this information?
No, honey, because the thing is if you're coming to me, there's a reason. You're looking for insight. Number two, I seek the truth. It's not my truth, so I don't take it personal. It's none of my business what comes forward. I'm most definitely a channeler as well. Mm-hmm. So your father, your stepfather that came forward. He came forward. He told me he was there. I seen him. And then, do I take it personal? No, I don't, because it's none of my business. When I'm teaching students to learn how to do a reading, when you're doing a reading, stop worrying if you're wrong, because how do you know you're wrong if it's not about you? You wouldn't know if it's right or wrong.
Absolutely.
Fill it out as if it's a glass of water. Give the information. Now, there's a lot of readers out there that don't share their information. They become sick. They become weak. So that's what I teach my students. Get a paper and pencil. Pencil's close to the Mother's Earth. The pencil is automatically an energy. Write your thoughts down. If it makes no sense to you, it's because it's not about you. Mm-hmm. Just write it down, release it, so you're not becoming the bottle and filling up and you become sick, because it will drain you. It can kill you.
Yeah.
She just answered my question.
Missy, is there a few questions? I've seen Becky have one, and there may be others, right?
Yeah. Becky asked, so if we wanted her to connect with a specific person, is that possible, or just whomever shows up?
With brown hair? Is she talking about the person in brown hair? It's male.
Who had that question?
Becky.
I can probably validate that.
Stop looking for materialistic things and look at the energy. Energy tells truth. Yeah.
Becky's surrounded by the most manly men you possibly would meet, so she's bombarded with masculinity all the time, so I wouldn't bust her balls too bad.
She said, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 7 brothers, so I know what masculinity is.
I'm sure you do. I was just going to say that. I was like, preach about the 7 brothers.
Yeah, and my father was a professional boxer at Fort Cassius Clay, so yeah, I know what him and, testosterone is.
John Cool asked the question, how do you spot a walk-in?
Oh, yeah, but that's the thing. With me or for someone else to spot it?
I'm not sure. That's all he.
And the person, are they sick? Did their moods change? A lot of people can get attached. And spirit, a lot of people say, oh, the spirit scratched me. It's not a scratch. It's actually trying to attach, and it's always up on most of the scratches. It's because they try to attach themselves to the spine. The spine is the body's movement. So they're trying to attach to the weakest part, really.
Real quick, this is kind of funny. Scotty Fox says, imagine if Lorie was your mom. Damn, you wouldn't get away with anything as a kid.
Welcome to my life.
I can actually say my kids were really good, but they always called me the drill sergeant. My daughter is like, my daughter is the oldest, and even now she will be 33 on the 25th of this month. She goes, Mom, how do you know everything? I said, it's not everything. I just see everything.
Yeah.
It's not about knowing it. It's seeing it. So when they were little, she would say, Mom, can I go with my cousin? And all of a sudden a flash comes in my head and I see an accident. I'm like, nope, you're not going. You just changed that cycle, the energy of it. So. Those premonitions are kind of whacked out to me sometimes, but I've learned that we can actually change the negative of it and change the outcome by changing your thought of it.
Hey, Justin.
Hey, what?
Are we going to take a break?
Yeah, I need a break.
If Lorie and you girls need a break, we can. I can throw up some video promos.
I need a cigarette.
I need a cigarette.
Okay, how's 6 minutes sound? 3 minutes? 6?
Perfect.
Three cigarettes? Is that like a bird flipping me off?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6
All
is
right.
good.
We're going to take a break, guys. Please don't go anywhere. We have one more great hour of Lorie. So far, so good. We're going to play some video promos.
Let me say something. Anybody that is spiritual, and because all 4 of us are spiritual, and I could tell there's some more sensitives in the watching. Get some water and drink it, because we're 98% of water. when we're, yeah, it doesn't matter if we're watching or we're talking or around. We lose energy because we're dehydrating because we're around other spiritual people. Get something to drink, guys.
All right, guys, we'll be back. Do you have that drive? That morbid curiosity to explore the darkness? Do you have what it takes to brave the night? You do? Good.
Dead light. For those who aren't afraid to see what lurks in the night.
I'd like to see you. What the fuck was that?
In every old building, a story lays dormant, yearning to be told. This is our calling.
I don't know why in this room. I'm hearing the train.
I just heard something.
it feels like it's train non-stop. I don't know why.
All right, guys, we're giving Lorie Johnson a few extra minutes. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I really want to plug, these things real quick. We'll do it again at the end of the show. But if you want to check out what Interface Death does, and it's entirely, you can go check out interfacedeath.net or .com, whichever you would like to use. The link is in the video descriptions. It's easy to find. If you want to support our shows, past watching them and sharing them and following our stuff on social media, you can do so and get rewarded. Patreon.com/support Interface Death gives people a way to support us financially, which is something that is very cheap to do, or you can do as much as you like. There's certain tiers that you will find on Patreon that gives different rewards for whatever you pledge. So if you do like what you see, if you like the content we're putting out there to keep this content here to stay and to make it better, you can go check that out and find out how you can help us that way. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed, but I want you to definitely go over to Facebook and check out the Necromancer live show on Facebook, and you can check out Interface Death on Facebook as well. Twitter and Instagram, where Interface Death is on Twitter and Instagram. And a quick shout out to our patrons. All those patrons you see on the list here in front of you make this show possible, and we just appreciate them so much. And we just couldn't continue to do what we're doing without their support. So if you are ever concerned of this content going away, you can make it not a possibility if you support us on Patreon, because it's very time consuming, expensive, so on and so forth. So please check that out. Do you girls, before Lorie comes back, did you have any questions or any afterthoughts from anything she has said thus far? Has anybody said anything in the comments that kind of sparked an interesting way to take the show? I was just wondering, because I wasn't looking at the comments at all.
Just praising her and seeing how much she enjoys her and stuff like that. But I think everything that she says is very interesting.
Right. Yeah. The part about the dolls animating was something I have not heard before. We got Sacramento Paranormal Investigators that has joined us. I didn't notice them. Okay.
John Coveney, he said, "Good evening, first time tuning in."
Well, thanks, John. Once Lorie's come back, we'll start the second half of the show, and hopefully you guys enjoy
Lorie
it.
left.
She did.
Yeah, you might need to call her back.
Okay, somehow her phone must have died, so what is she saying now? Chat. And she's back.
There she is.
All right, blow.
Did you get some nicotine?
I did. When do I not? I wish I could quit. I don't know how. Don't drink and I don't do drugs. Never did drugs in my life, but that is my demon.
The coffee and the cigarette. Yep.
Yeah, that.
Pretty much.
Man, it'd be hard not to do any form of stimulant, like no caffeine, no nicotine, no nothing. You have to be pretty rad.
Especially with the gifts and the red hair. Yeah, that's an atomic bomb.
Yeah. So where should we go with this now? I mean, what do you find yourself doing nowadays? Do you find yourself doing anything particular? Do you try to, branch out and do different things? I know you mentioned that you work with law enforcement, you work with missing cases and cold cases, maybe. Like, what do you try to primarily spend your energy on?
I'm
I don't want to say it's OCD, but it's OCD. I've always got to constantly be busy. I love being busy. So I'll start channeling, and then I'll, a lot of the work that I do on my timeline is actually channeled because I have the ability to pick up people's energy, no matter if I've met you, talked to you or not, I pick it up. And then if something needs to be addressed, or I call it the shout out, I'll just do it. I mean, I'm all over the place. I don't limit myself. We limit ourselves. That means we're trying to direct it. And humans have the ability or the mean. They need the mean of directing something. When I teach someone, I before I teach them, I do a healing on them. And the first thing that I do is I teach them the hand that you grabbed your spoon, a toy with, is actually the human side, because the human side of the brain needs to be the boss. It needs to drive. It needs the need. But the spiritual side is what the empathy starts to come out. And when you're meditating and when you're doing your readings, don't stay on the side that you find yourself on the hand that you write with. That's the human. It needs to direct. So if you want to open and your perception back up or follow through with your intuition, go on the other side and close your eyes and think of nothing. Look at the tip of your nose with your eyes closed. And then you basically telepathically say, now show me what I need to be shown. And this is how I do my mentoring. I live your life. And if you have ailments, I feel it 10 times fold. Because I don't take anything personal, I can be able to tell you that what's going on with your body. That is the shamanism and also the medical intuitive that I am. And it doesn't matter even if it's not medical. It could be loneliness. It could be anger. It could be whatever. And then I try to find out where this came from. And I'll go as far as the time that you were conceived to find out what is going on in your nows. But Justin, I don't limit myself. If I'm the tool, the messenger that I was created to do, then I do what I've got to. But I take breaks? Absolutely. I'll tell them I need a break.
I really wasn't asking if you limited it to yourself. I'm sorry if I came over. I was just wondering if, what you primarily, if you focused on anything particular, or you just shoot from the hip or run and gun type, scenario, which is pretty much what you explained.
Well, if I'm working on my timeline, it's channeled through. I'm a channeler. I can channel anybody, anything. If I do shout outs, that means I've got a spirit here that's been here, with me lingering for too long. And I'll do a shout out and say, hey, look, I've got this particular person. If it sounds familiar, the names that come forward sounds familiar, contact me. I'm not a snot. I don't have a fat head. I'm not conceited. I'm not rude. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because to me, I never had anybody to mentor me. I had to learn it on my own with the angels and the guardians and my guides. And I have white lighters that work with me that actually, if I sense a soul that had died and they're just totally stuck, they don't know which way to go, I ask the white lighters to come forward, and they take them in their next transition of understanding. One, they died. Mm-hmm. There's no more body. And that's what's going on with this world right now, is because so much energy is happening, from 2012 to even had woke up the energy, since 15, 16. It's because there's so much energy on this earth. It's something that's going on. And I believe it's man-made. It's man-made. They're rerouting these trees. They're digging down into the ocean for oil. They're disturbing the axles of this earth.
I have a quick question for you, Lorie. Have you ever done a reading or tried to help someone spiritually and you regretted it or suffered some kind of negative side, consequence from it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had gone to Gettysburg and I went the orphanage, and I wasn't even in there. I was with another team, He and I had walked, we were walking the sidewalk, and all of a sudden, this young girl, she was about 14, and then maybe a 6 or 5-year-old, they were literally, I could I could hear them. And they were saying, hey, 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 can you hear me? And I looked up and I could see beautiful, dark-haired girl, 14 years old, beautiful, just curly. And then the little baby was the blonde with curly hair. And all of a sudden I started going into their time, when the war started. The older girl's mother had died, some kind of plague. And then the little girl's parents, I don't know what, I think the dad ended up in the military, the fighting, and they were really young. They're like 17, 19 years old. And she never showed me her mom, but I could see her, really pretty blonde hair, female. And, they were saying, can you please help me? And they were showing me the lady that was taking care of them in that place. She was mean. And the older girl was in charge of keeping all the kids clean, the food on the table, making sure the children were very well behaved. And if it came to the point where the boys needed to be reprimanded, the woman would take them downstairs and like a crawl space basement type thing, and she would pull on their private areas until they screamed.
What?
And I was living this as this girl was showing me, and all of a sudden, and she was crying. She was, please help us, please help me find my mom. They attached to me.
Oh
They
my
got
God.
And I didn't realize they attached to me. And I started getting really sick. I had gotten so sick I was rushed to the hospital. Nobody understood why my immune system was going down, why I was sick. I couldn't even move. And I looked, and all of a sudden, the woman, the mother of the home, she got in my face, and she had bloody red eyes. You could tell she was very much of a demon. And she goes, I'm getting them back, and I'm taking them back. And I literally, with all the strength that I had in my body, I sat up and I said, no, you're not. I said, because you're not going to get them. And I literally, it was like a chick fight, literally a chick fight for these little girls' souls. And then all of a sudden I stood up, and I felt Archangel Michael. And I started taking pictures of myself around me and everything. And you could see that there's a blue line, and it was a sword. And in that sword, there was a blue diamond, and it's him. And you could see the bloody, how that light looks? Mm-hmm. Well, actually, brighter than that. Oh, you could see it in the picture. And I think I have him in my photos on Facebook. And anyways, I guess I scared this woman off, or whatever I did. I stood my ground. She wasn't getting these girls. I went back to Gettysburg, and I actually released them with their dads and their moms and all that. So
that's
crazy.
That's a pretty pretty tough scenario to be in.
Trust me, if I told all the stories that I had gone through, I always make the joke, I should be on the 3rd floor of a hospital hugging myself. It is crazy since I was a child, and not just living a hell of a life being human, but spiritual side too. It was just bad.
Before we go to the comments in the chat, do you think that some people with abilities like yourself go crazy?
They can, absolutely. But today's society, there's an epidemic of being medicated and hiding your gifts because the doctors don't understand what you're going through. I've had people come to me, and they've done the 2-hour healing with me, and it's like you and I talking right now. We do it on Skype. I want your soul to see my soul. That means your eyes will see mine. Mm-hmm. And they've come back within months and years and said, Lorie, I don't know what you've done. I have been seeing a therapist for 30 years. And this is a lawyer that told me 30 years. In one session with you, I found myself. That's when I know that I'm doing my job right.
There's a lot of people in chat. They're asking for mentorship. Can you kind of explain how you work with people and how that works?
Well, what began this mentoring with me on the internet, I had gone and tried to seek help. I wanted somebody to tell me why I'm seeing these dead people, and why am I hearing them, and why am I seeing portals, and why am I seeing dimensions of the woods opening up, and I'm seeing these military men come through. Why am I doing all this? And I'd gone to one lady, and it really peeved me off. It just, have you ever disliked something so much? It wasn't the person, but it was what they did. It was one day, she wanted $795 just to talk to her. And then I said, well, can you tell me what you do? And she goes, oh, we just talk about it. I said, honey, you know what? Your talking is not going to help me in my world. So I said, you know what? I'm done with this. So I offer a 5-day mentoring, and it's like we are here. And then if that's a private, or you can go into a group, and we do a private on a phone. Your business is nobody else's business. We do a private on the phone, and then what I do is I open up. You cannot mentor someone that's broken or sad or angry or unfinished business. I help you heal that. I help you bring it forth, understand it, acknowledge it, and learn to cut that cord and close that door on it. Because how are you going to move forward if you haven't moved forward with yourself? It's self-love and self-worth that we deal with every day. All of us do. All of us. And that's how I work with my stuff. It's 5 days. It is not consecutive, because I know how I am. If you're going to shove a book in my face and I got 1 day to read, are you going to remember everything in it? Absolutely not.
Well, unless you're like photographic memory. No.
I do, but my problem is that you cannot cram something in someone's head without helping them heal it. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I understand the analogy, but when you said that, I was like, I know a few people that are crazy smart.
Yeah, well, I've got photo. I remember everything. I remember my mom and dad's number when I was probably about maybe 9, 10. But there's a lot of people that are very literal. What you tell them, they think it should be that way all the time, but that's not true. If we look at things as nothing's the same, we own nothing, but we are able to change it, then you're going to be able to understand that things with particular people are totally different, and it can change all the time because we have the ability to change it ourselves. You could say, I was 14 years old, I dated this boy and he beat me up. And then I was 18 years old and I ended up marrying a man that was an alcoholic and he beat me up. That's a cycle. I look for all this. I help heal it to show you what was the reason why you go through things like this. Yeah. I'm not a teacher just to shove homework. I am a mean teacher. I give you homework, I test you.
Yeah, there's definitely patterns and cycles people can get stuck in for sure. Do you girls have any questions from the chat for Lorie?
I do. If Misty wants to go first, she can.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Person.
What's that?
She's not going to argue with you. You have to make her do it.
Betty wants to know
that very well.
Betty wants to know, Lorie, I know things before they happen sometimes. I can't make it happen. Can I learn too?
Why does he want to learn to make it happen? That's not good to me. That's not a good thing. Now, if he's talking about his own world of changing the thing, you know what? You've got this is a self-worth thing with him, because I can see him. He's a little balding up at the top.
Actually, that was Betty. You might be picking up on somebody else.
Betty? Okay, so I see two-tone colors in his hair. It's lighter up at the top and then a little bit gray right around here, or it's darker color around the ear. He's got something going on with his right foot.
It's Betty. It's a female.
Okay.
But like I said, you might be picking up somebody else in the chat.
Is there somebody in the room with her? I'll pick them up.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Answer Lorie's question in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to the bottom of who this guy is. In the meantime,
all right. So, anyways, Buddy wants to know how can you manifest what you want.
Well, I think she's wanting to know how can she learn too? That she knows things before they happen. I believe what she's asking.
That's premonition. Premonition
Yes.
means that you're going to see it before it happens.
Yes.
But what is she?
I think she's asking if she would be able to learn to be a psychic as well.
Okay, well, a premonition is most definitely the ability of a medium. But she needs to stop worrying about the brand name right now and understand what gifts she does have. Most definitely Buddy has, and that's not her real name. That's a nickname. Sorry, but I hear another name being called to her. But anyways, with her, she's most definitely, she has touch, and it would be more on her, her left hand. She could touch something, get zapped sometimes. She also has, does she have issues going on with her sleep? I see. Does she have a history of some kind of a seizure? I see her eyes rolling in her sleep. I can see your dreams. I can see everything about it.
Okay, she said that nobody's in the room with her, so you must have been picking up on somebody else.
I'm gonna tell you straight out. No, I'm not. Ask her if her father or grandfather's passed on her mother's side.
Okay. We'll see if when she replies.
He's got curly, wavy hair. He's with her, and he came through the phone when you read Buddy.
That's why it's better for people to go with Lorie one-on-one. This is kind of not the greatest.
Well, it's not even that. It's don't give me names. You give me a name, and it doesn't belong to them. That name's going to the person that nicknamed them.
You broke Lorie's rule. You will now be punished.
I know. I'm sorry, and I won't do it again.
No, the thing is, you gotta look at it. Listen, you've got to look at it like this. If it came up, there's got to be a reason. She needs healing. She most definitely needs grounded. She most definitely needs to understand there's no, she shouldn't worry about if she controls something. She needs to understand if it comes to her as a negative, as a premonition, rethink it or rewrite it with a pencil. She's rewriting that energy to where she's going to manifest it.
Mm-hmm. She said a long time ago, I'm assuming about the grandfather or the father that passed, but no curls.
It looks wavy to me right in here in the area. Right in here.
It was a hair phase that he went through.
Ask her who John is.
We'll see what she says.
Who's John? So anyways, with the premonition, she's most definitely a medium, but we need to stop worrying about the names because that is controlling a situation. So, and then you're going to limit yourself. So she channels, she most definitely has touch, and she most definitely has premonition, but she's also an intuitive. But the thing is, when we worry about those names, we forget how to use them, if that makes sense. So she needs to start testing herself with it.
Okay, I believe she said maybe on John. I think she just replied maybe.
Yeah, it's John. It could be
she says my husband's grandfather, my son's middle name.
I know. Okay. So
I have one question.
It only shows me that the person that came forward before I could explain her her question is because they love her. And they want her. He's worrying about somebody, or he's letting them know that I'm still around. That's all it is. And he's funny, and he smokes, and he drinks, and he wears rings. So,
go ahead, Missy.
Someone asked, "How do you find your spirit guide?"
Okay, so the number one thing that I always say, if you're looking for your spirit guides, your guardians, your guide, your angels, what you do is you need to learn to relax. If your mind is all over the place and thinking and hoping and, oh my God, what am I ever going to know? What you do is before you fall asleep and you're finding yourself falling asleep, you can actually close your eyes and say, can you please show me who you are? Now, a lot of people have a problem of needing to know the name. If you're in heaven, there is no names. We all recognize each other through the soul, not a name. That's a human way. but because the name was given, it could be that. But because I believe in reincarnation, the essence of your soul, that soul could be broke up thousands of times. You know what I mean? So I don't like doing the names, but they can ask them in a calm, quiet, soothing thing. Like, if you're okay, so let's see. You could do water sounds. You sit in a tub. You could put music on your head. You could listen to your favorite music and just kind of like overthink the music and say, "Can you show me who you are?" And Justin, you most definitely have a lot of men behind you. You have a lot of men.
I hope that they're all heterosexual men.
And your wife and your son and your daughter are eating ice cream in the other room.
Are they?
Yes.
Without me?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Marilyn asked, can gifts be in dormant and then awaken later in life?
Absolutely. If you're having depression or anger, or there's a lot of confusion, it reminds me of the turtle. The turtle can come out, but then when you're dealing with a lot of crap in your life, it can go back in, but you'll never lose it. You'll never lose what you've already got. A lot of people, the old psychic mediums, have an issue of saying, well, pick one gift and stay with that one. That's bogus. It's bogus.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
My daughter, she wants to be a child right now, she just turned 14 and it's like, oh, I hope you don't lose it, of the things that she has done in the past.
Definitely. Yeah.
I would understand why people would be concerned, because it's the mind and the physical aspects of who we are. The flesh taxi cabs can really impede on your abilities more than you would like them to. People, society and culture telling you that ghosts aren't real, that the boogeyman's not real, all that type of stuff. Psychic abilities aren't real, and mix in your own, inhibitions and fears and worries. I mean, you really have to walk a path. And I think Lorie is a good example. Like, she strikes me as somebody is just, I'm not fucking deviating from this fucking path in front of me. This is the path. Whether you like to watch me walk it or not, I'm not leaving the path. And this is who I am, right?
I've actually earned it from the hell that I lived. I really did. But it doesn't mean that I never had it. It took me that much to find it in myself.
Real quick, Betty did reply. She said her husband said that it's definitely his grandfather, John.
Awesome sauce.
Smoke, drag,
a lot
and
of people,
war rings.
when Lorie gives descriptions, some people only remember them with certain styles of hair or certain ways, and Lorie's actually maybe seeing them at a different time period than they are remembering them. So it helps to ask.
Spirit can transform themselves from the time that you remember and then the time that they're happy at.
Yes.
That brings up an interesting point, Lorie. Do you believe that spirits and deceased, departed loved ones and people in general who have died and are in the spirit realm, do you ever see them take on just totally different identities that are very far from their own? Kind of go into why that is, you think?
Well, let me put it in a way that you would be able to understand. If you say it would be you, and you're not happy in the body that you're in and the life that you lived. We can actually, when we die and we have no unfinished business, we're content when we have passed. We can actually come to the point where we're happy. It's a mental thought that creates what is, if that makes sense. I've asked Spirit many times some crazy stuff. I'm serious on that. I asked them, well, if you like to gamble, do you go gambling? And they say, absolutely, I'm still there playing. That's a mental thought to them. When you celebrate somebody's birthday, your loved ones are going to be there. They can still smell. Their smelling is a mental thought that they're eating with you. Do you understand that? So
Sure.
it's an energy. So most definitely, I've seen them. You call them shapeshifters.
Yeah, there's definitely that. Well, I was actually one of my favorite movies that was from a really good novel called What Dreams May Come with Robin
Yep.
Williams.
Yep.
That's what first got me on board with that concept. And
I really believe that Robin Williams was gifted. I think he was gifted. He was afraid to come out. I don't know what his religion is, but I do believe that he never was he was never taught to understand, because a lot of the depression could be not even ours. It could be who is around us or what we're holding on to.
Right.
I can say straight out, I was very depressed when I was little.
well, actors, they perceive that a little different. They channel different characters all the time, and the best actors are the best channelers, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Did we have
Absolutely.
another question?
Yeah. Okay. The question is, what is your most valuable ability or your go-to ability?
The healer. I love it. I know that if I can, when I opened a group up on Facebook, it was the love of those are still here. I opened that up years ago, and I was still learning. I was putting myself into tests, and I told people, post a picture. I don't care if it was a black and white one. I don't care if it was damaged. Post your picture and let me read it. And when I did that, I actually channeled a lady had brought her nephew's picture. He died in the military, and all of a sudden it jumped from her into him, into his mother, his mom. And I said, do you mind me reading his mom, because he's putting her in my face? And I told her what she looked like, and it's still in there. You can read everything in it. I never deleted anything. And she said, of course. And I told her what she looked like. She goes, yes, that's my sister. That's his mom. And I said, do you mind me doing a medical insight on her? And she goes, yes, please. And I told her she has cancer in her stomach. And I told her exactly where it was. And she goes, well, she did just go to the doctors and they didn't find anything. And I said, do me a favor. I see the future. And the angels or my insight does not show me unless they want your life is worth it, and they know you're valuable to, they want you healthy. It wouldn't be shown to me. Please take her back. Ask her to go back and look at that spot. 6 months later, she come back in that group on that post and told me I saved her sister's life. So the healer in me, I love it. The shamanism, I love it. It's me. I love it.
I have another question.
Okay.
Can you talk to the animals too?
Absolutely. Yep, I had a lady call me or write me on the internet, and she had hooked her friend up with me, and she said, Lorie, my friend wants to talk to you. And I said, is it about a bird? A parakeet? And she goes, yes. And the lady wanted to know if the bird got out, and she wanted to know if the bird died or was still alive, because it was a exotic type of bird. And the bird showed me where he was, and he did die. He was an old. And to me, a lot of people take it personal when an animal runs away, but sometimes in honor, they don't want to die around you. They run. They need freedom.
Yeah, I've always loved listening to podcasts and shows that feature like veterinary. Most are women, but there are men who are extremely empathic, and it's cool to see, people who are very adept in communicating with animals, because you have to use the empathic part of your, yourself to communicate.
A lot of people don't understand that using the empath part of you is actually living exactly what, sorry guys, exactly what that person or that animal has gone through.
Right, because you're obviously not speaking the same language. Their auditory language is very primitive compared to ours. So they communicate, I believe, empathically to their same species and other species around them more so than they do barking and making
So-
noises.
Right. Yep. Yep.
That's a
most
whole
def-
nother show. I'm deeply fascinated by that. And people who are horse whisperers and cat whisperers and dog whisperers and whatever. Like especially birds. Like birds are highly intelligent, very empathic, and it's an interesting topic
most
right now
definitely.
for me.
I'm cheating. I'm going to smoke a cigarette and talk.
Oh boy, we can definitely hear your central air unit. Okay, do we have any other questions? If not, I can drum up some of my own.
I do. Do you believe that animal totems spirits come to you as messengers? I ask because I've come across a coyote in a very unusual, peaceful way recently.
Okay, well, that's a totem, or it could be your animal guide. Everybody has a totem, animal totem, and everybody has an animal guide. So that would be the nature of you. If you are one way or another some type of Indian, I don't care if it was thousands of years ago, family, you have an animal totem or animal spirit guide.
And that could
I
be
believe,
a native Indian from any part of the world, right?
absolutely, it also could be part of your soul's travel that you were actually the Indian, part of the nature of the world, the land.
Awesome. Anything else on Facebook or YouTube land?
I don't see anything on YouTube right now. Just a bunch of, this is very interesting
I
comments.
told everybody I was out there, did I not?
Interesting, good, interesting. Lorie.
How do you
Yeah.
figure your animal spirit guide?
The number one thing a lot of people don't realize that, oh my goodness, isn't that a cute turtle? Or, oh my goodness, I can hear the frogs. It's something that is a constant. It's constant. A lot of your loved ones will come in the form of, not, they come in, but, the bird is the messenger. If you see the cardinal or you see a bird that you remember, oh my God, my grandmother used to love those. Hello. It's just them letting you know they're around.
It's just a coincidence, Lorie. Just a coincidence.
Smack him, Lorie. Do it. Do it.
No, she knows I'm joking. Don't you, Lorie?
I got a brother like you. I can handle you.
Yeah, I was going to say,
This
it's
is
like
what-
if you can't handle 7 of me, then one of them shouldn't give you a problem.
Yeah, this is what Missy and I deal with all the time.
He's a lot like I am. Tell me what you want to know, and don't give me a definition.
Yeah, this is the 75th episode of this show where I interview folks, and I took a long break, like I said at the beginning, and you were the first person I have interviewed as I come back, and it's been a while, but this is where my heart lies with, the new intro. I talk about para-unity. I talk about, let's do something different. It is what you make it. The para-unity is. And all I hate hearing negative things being said about it. And there's so much positivity that you can just put out there. It's what you put out there. So I love doing the show. I love talking to folks like yourself and others from all walks of life. And there's always a takeaway.
Absolutely. Sorry for walking on you. A lot of people need to understand something. It is good for a paranormal team to have an insight spiritual person, a psychic, a medium, a seer, intuitive, somebody that can actually sense something before something bad happens. Just to protect them. Do you know how many people that have actually did these paranormal investigations, gone in some really bad stuff, and end up alcoholics, dying of overdoses, getting sick with cancer? They need a psychic or a medium or a seer. I think it's a must.
There's a lot of people out there that try to stay objective and sciencey. I was that guy until a certain point of time. I started my paranormal team in 2013, but now, since I stopped being estranged from my mother, she's been helping me. Jess and Missy's, we've been trying to develop their gifts even more. We use them as tools. You use them as tools, like you said. They can bring you a sense of like a firewall, like you were talking about. If your meters and your cameras are not going to tell you if something's coming in.
No.
And a lot of times, I like to tell the people who follow me that we have spiritual immune systems, and sometimes they're way down. Something can come in and get us, and we have to have.
You've got to remember, spirit is energy, can manipulate and tell you that they're in front of you when they're actually behind you. So.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of goes along with the question I asked you. There's a lot of people that are hearing a child come through, but it's not always a child coming through.
No, not all the time.
Have you ever had an experience where something was trying to come across in a deceptive way to you, and you pretty much called them out on it?
Yep, I sure do. Because I actually, when I do my insight, especially when I was doing the show, those were really real investigations of places, and that we had that negative show itself as a woman, and it wasn't a woman. It was a total negative. I mean, if it was a woman, there was no way that we could see on the camera, and also on in my eyes. It broke up, and little black things like slime got thrown on the wall, and it split all over the place. There's no way. And it was trying to manipulate as a woman.
Yeah, see, you definitely got to be careful with that. Have you ever channeled a spirit that has actually not directly or on purpose doing something unfavorable to you, like draining your energy or doing something that is not quite good?
I think that, I had my very first channeling. It was actually a physical and a mental thing that happened to me. I was really tired. I had just gotten back from Gettysburg. I was worn out. I didn't know I had the girls there. And then all of a sudden, I had an Indian man standing over top of me, and he said, and I'm half asleep. You know how you're almost in a twilight sleep, but you're still awake. You can hear everything. And he says, "My name is Chief Choho, and it's time to get up. We need to write." And I said, "Okay, in a minute." And he said, "No." And he literally got in behind me, took my shirt and my pants, and lifted me out of bed, walked me down 16 steps. And I said, "Okay, well, you know what? It is what it is." And I always do, if you're not of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, you're not welcome here. And I said, and I asked Archangel Michael to take him. And he started laughing at me. And I said, "Okay, well, if I got to do this, please let me get some coffee." He goes, "No, you have enough time for that. You don't have enough time for this." I went and got a pencil. I got the paper, and I actually grabbed the pen. He goes, "No, you grabbed my land." And I grabbed the pencil, and I did a writing, and it was it started out with Lincoln's wife was telling me there were some secret boxes on the land where their home was. It wanted to be found. And then I had Lincoln come in and tell me this is what the memoir is about. I've still got it. And then all of a sudden, Chief Choho had brought my uncle in, and he had it was my mom's youngest brother, and we couldn't find him, and he wanted to let my mom know that what he was accused of was a lie. And then I was out of it.
A question. That's
and
actually,
it wasn't my writing, by the way.
That's actually a really cool story, though. By the way, I didn't want to move on without saying that, but this is a question I have not seen. But if it's been asked by one of you folks in the chat, I'm sorry. Do you use crystals, sage, herbs, anything like that?
I have used sage. I like my sage. It does cleanse and clear. People are using sage in the wrong way. There is the incense, the incense stick. You don't use the full-blown white sage unless there is total negative possession, aggravation, moving stuff. Then you use the bundle. You use the other one and just keep the air cleansing, clearing. You make sure that your home is not overwhelmed with a bunch of crap, because everything has something attached to it or has energy of its own. And it does, and it will confuse you. You know, the people that need to overwhelm their home with things, and it's all over the place. There's no wall to be seen. There is no floor to be seen. Sorry about that. There's no floor. I mean, what are they called? They're hoarders. Well, and people find out, oh my gosh, she's crazy. Oh my, of course she is. She's picked up every single one of them. Hoarders to me are people that are trying to hide. But is it that one particular person, or is it more spirits that are attached that are trying to hide? You know, like I said, I dissect everything.
A lot of hoarders are OCD or have a hard time letting it go too, right? Do you agree with that?
No, I don't, because to me, a hoarder is someone that has to have something taller than them, and it's like they're hiding. Why are you hiding? Could it be from something from a past life? The OCD, I have OCD and cleaning.
The OCD is cleanliness. You
Yeah.
want everything clean.
I have OCD. I'm telling you, ever since I had my daughter in '86, Rock Hudson died of AIDS. Something just clicked in my brain, and I am germophobic. I have to have everything clean. And to me, you know, from a family of 10 kids and both parents, we weren't rich. We know what hunger means. We know, you know, and when somebody comes to my home, my food is not advertised to throw it in somebody's face that couldn't afford what I do have. So I do have that as well. I mean, I respect people. I don't want to I'm not a flasher. I'm not a goody two shoes to where, oh my God, I've got a Michael Kors pocketbook. You know, I just don't get into that kind of crap. You know, I'm a very old fashioned person. I respect people. I don't want to throw something in your face that you wish you could have and I don't have, because I'm the type of person, here, you can have it.
All right. We have a few minutes left. The one final question that I would like to ask is, do you meditate on a normal basis? What do you do when you meditate? How do you do that?
It depends on the energy that we're having. Like right now, we're in retrograde. I do put Lakota music in my ear, because what happens is I tune myself in the tunes, all the music.
Uh-oh, did we lose her?
She muted herself and turned her video off.
Uh-oh.
I did.
She's
I have a spirit behind me. That's not nice.
What
I'm all right.
happened?
Anyways, I put that on in the retrograde to be able to release what doesn't belong to me in the tunes, and it releases itself. I do meditate a lot, but I meditate with music because all my life I've had music around me. I love to dance. I dance. When you find yourself frustrated or aggravated, or your feet need to move, but you don't know which way to go, you know, I get up and I just go dancing. I just be crazy. I'm just funny. I'm silly. I start cleaning. I move furniture around, because if you shift things around you, you're shifting energy as well.
Right.
You're releasing whatever is trying to, you know, change you, what is not. So
do you do grounding?
I do. I actually make music, jewelry, and I'm doing chakras and grounding and protection. I am shaman, so I use the earth to charge all my jewelry. And a lot of people that are real gifted, they do feel wherever you mentally look at what you need grounded or helped with, and take that and you put it on, and you feel that going through to cleansing and clearing, and you know, and that's how I work. I mean, I do it with myself.
Yeah, that's definitely what I've learned to do. I watched the documentary about the science, the so-called science behind grounding, but you know, it's been something that I've been trying to do, that I encourage the girls in our group to do, and the whole meditation thing, I've been definitely doing a lot more. My mom's even suggested doing it when we go to, do the field research we do. We get so wound up in the films we're trying to produce and all the stuff we're trying to do, and that we don't stop and breathe and try to,
How do you meditate, Justin? Because to me, your healers, your guides, and your guardians are telling me, because you're stubborn and you're very, you're the boss type of thing. You've got to be in control of it all. You lean against the tree, and your top of your shoulders has to be touching the tree, and just release all of it, because you are an empath, most definitely an empath. And a lot of the frustrations that you find yourself in is not even you; it's everybody else. Because deep down in your gut, you're most definitely you're a healer in a way of wanting to make everybody happy, and
that is the path of an empath.
yeah. But a lot of people also frustrate you when they're not listening, and that's when your frustration comes. So the tree is your grounding.
I do that all the time to him.
Yeah, but you actually need water, not just the tree.
I know.
And water, and you have thyroid issue going on too. Get it checked, Mama.
So you hear that? Lorie said it's your guys' fault, and I get mad.
Stop it.
Okay, I do have a question. Can I ask?
All right, make it quick. We got 3 minutes left. She's probably getting tired.
Okay. My question is how do you know the full scope of your abilities if you have no self-love and no self-confidence?
Okay, so number one, you actually do. You do, but you're a shy girl. And when you were younger, this is the healer coming forward. When you were younger, you felt that you were never heard.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't get the attention you needed. So there's your self-worth, self-love. So, and the adult lady that you are now, I can't see you. She needs to say, you know what? It is what it is. I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm here to impress myself and be you, because you're actually silly. You've got an awesome energy.
Mm-hmm.
I met you, and you're a really good person. You lead most definitely with your heart. And then when you do something you don't want to do, you self-sabotage yourself. You get angry, really mad at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Stop doing it, because I always taught myself, because I do myself. I always try to make everybody feel equal, because that's what we are. We're all equal. You need to say, you know what? It is what it is. It must have needed to be done that way, because you do have angels. You have most definitely looks like an aunt, a great aunt that smoked, a very pale lady, and then you have a very tall lady with her. She's got I don't know if it's a G name. It's Rita, it's a G name. Georgia?
Jean.
Okay. There's another name that everybody called her, honey, because she's loving the other name.
I can't.
Gertie? It's a very old lady. But anyways, and I believe she belongs on your dad's side of the family.
Okay. I don't know many of them.
All right. Well, you do have them. They are your guides, and you do have guardians. But the guardians, we need to stop worrying about who they are or where they are, but just start, giving them things to do, because that's why they're there. And then once you start getting, rehearsed with it, understanding that they are here and things are starting to look, as if you're on your right path, then they're going to start showing themselves. They're going to start whispering in your ears, as they do when you're laying down in your chair. They whisper in your ear, and I know you hear them, because I hear what you hear.
She hears a lot.
Yeah.
I hate to do this, folks, but we're
Remember
going.
grandchild passed? Somebody lost a baby?
Not me.
There's a little, it's a little boy. Somebody lost it, and whoever it is belongs to the girl and your family that loved you as like a mom. The baby plays with your hair, just letting you know. If you feel your hair being pulled, it's the baby. Yeah.
Interesting.
Makes sense.
All right. Well, Lorie, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this show up. I want to firstly say thank you very much for doing this for the whole 2 hours. I mean, I don't want to let that be unknown in this. We appreciate. I mean, there's no words to tell you how much we appreciate you taking the time, sitting down with us, and answering all the questions in chat and just putting up with us in general. So just let it be known that we are very grateful for your time. And we want, is there anything that you want to plug or announce before we wrap this up?
July 26th, 27th, 28th, I'll be at the Gettysburg Bash. There's going to be a lot of really good people there. This is for the wounded warriors. Pam and Steve Berry are in charge of all this. I love them. They're good people, and come out. It's terminally ill children as well. Steve and Pam, they do everything for all these wounded warriors and children. And I'm honored to be there. So come on out and come see us. There's music. We have fun. We all have fun.
Lorie's website is in the video description. Do you want to go ahead and just tell them?
I can. It's www. and it's Lorie. A lot of people forget the E at the end. Johnson.com. It's www.psychiclorie, Lorie, Johnson.com.
There you go. And if you do go to the Battlefield Bash to see Lorie, we'll be there too. So you can stop by. You can see us at the same time. So yeah, we are looking forward to that, and we are looking forward to seeing you again as well. We promise to not bother you quite so much this time around.
I like being bothered. A lot of people say I don't want to bother you, and this I like it. If I have a big mouth, if you're bothering me, I'll say I'll see you in a minute.
I'm going to take full advantage of that. I'm like fucking poking your shoulder the whole time.
I'm going to actually call you down and say, you know what? I need your help. Come here.
All right. I'm there.
I love it.
I'm there. Thanks, Lorie. Everybody, please follow Lorie on social media. Be patient if she doesn't respond to you right away. She does have people helping her manage with her social media and events and stuff. So if Rich Valdez does most of your stuff, right?
Who?
Rich Valdez.
He does advertise me. He's a good man. I stand by him a lot. I mean, I don't let everybody do things like this. So it takes a lot, for me to trust you. And he does advertise for me. He does a lot for everybody, really. But
right.
I do have a manager. Her name is Stephanie Wells. And you can actually contact me through her at my email at Lorie J, LORIEJ at AOL.com.
All right, but yeah, guys, definitely, hit Lorie up, and you can learn from her. She's eager to teach you stuff, eager to heal, and teach you how to heal, and it's all good. Lorie, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this show up. If you want to hang out on the call, you can. If you want to hang up, you can. But we'll see you next weekend.
All right, you guys have a good night. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, guys, I first want to say that I appreciate you guys hanging in here for the 2 hours. That's great. Necromancer show is going to be a 2-hour show for the most part. Unless the guest is like super special and he only wants to do an hour, and there's a potential guest that we may only do an hour, so we might have 2 guests on, or just have an hour show with him and do the next hour like a freestyle. But thank you guys very much for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll throw up the links here again. You can check out Lorie's website in the video description. You can check out interfacedeath.net if you're interested in what the Interface Death paranormal research we do. Patreon.com/support Interface Death is where you can give us financial support for the content we put out there, which range from documentary, film production, webisodes, these live streams, all kinds of stuff. Our website, the money that it costs to do all this stuff stacks up very fast, so any help can be appreciated there. If you're watching on YouTube, you can follow Necromancer Live Show on Facebook. You can follow Interface Death on Twitter and Instagram. Patreon support is important. People like Clay Borman, Katie Turner, RJ Murphy, Casey Schreiner, Jessica Bias, Scotty Fox, Paranormal Reporter, Joe Vitale, Heather Elliott, General 7, I forgot to switch that on this one, Cherry Capital Shadow Seekers, Kelly McConkey, the Ghost Guild. They all make this content free and available to you guys, so extend your thanks to them. I'm going to leave it there. You guys have a great night. Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, we're going live. We'll do some live investigations. We'll do some live Q&A with some other vendors there. If you are on the Patreon, you see a lot more content behind the scenes and stuff there. So follow us on the interwebs. You guys have a good night. Stick around for some video promotions if you didn't see them halfway through. You guys have a good one. Do you have that drive? That morbid curiosity to explore the darkness? Do you have what it takes to brave the night? You do? Good.
Dead light. For those who aren't afraid to see what lurks in the night.
I'd like to see you. What the fuck was that?
I just heard something.
It feels like it's train. Non-stop. I don't know why.